we're teaching this course, we're going to do what we call the TSL daily maintenance, all right? And there are 5 things that we do to kind of achieve balance. These are literally 5 things that you can do every day. They're super fucking simple, that will allow you to get in a good mindset, to be yourself. They're going to help with things like creativity. They're going to help with things like direction in life, clarity, focus. But at the same time, you know what? They might tap into a part of you that's kind of confused. They might tap into a part of you that's kind of angry. They might tap into a part of you that you may not like, but they are the roadmap to stabilize those things. All right, number 1 we're going to get into is daily meditation. Daily med. We'll kind of do that just because daily meds sound like something else, man. But daily meditation. Number 2 is giving. And I'm just going to leave these up here, and I kind of want this to revolve around what we're talking about today. Number 3, if only I could count, is be social. Number 4, be sexual. Oh yeah. How do I do that every day? Fuck, man. Internet porn is just too. That's the cheat. And the last one, and this one we recently changed. Gratitude and purpose. All right, so check this out. I really wanted to get to a place where I wanted to stabilize the things, and there's a lot of work that I do on myself. And this is actually a real important thing. For guys that I work with, I don't tell them to do anything I haven't done, all right? I do it myself. I do this with my guys. I probably post, well, maybe not more on our forum than anybody about the TSL 5 dailies, but for me, it's really, really, really important to do these. Daily meditation, what the hell is that? For years, man, I've been around so many people who spoke, or I've worked with like high-level entrepreneurs. I've worked with people that are, just brilliant people, whether they, some enormously wealthy and intelligent people or people who were just happy, There's my buddy Paul, who is kind of like one of the wealthier guys I know, and he started a search engine like Google years ago, sold it. He has huge businesses and multiple businesses that have like 70 employees apiece. He's just a real tycoon type of guy. Paul told me he's 40-something, upper 40s. He told me in his early 30s, lost all his money, and this is actually typical of a lot of entrepreneurs. So if you're an entrepreneur and you felt this, he lost all his money, got divorced, he wanted to kill himself. And I remember him telling me, he's like, but I wasn't really serious. And I'm like, no, man, it's totally cool, man. And the more you hear about my story, it's like, no, dude, I've totally been there, man. I might think about suicide very often at certain times in my life just because of the stuff that goes on inside me. But he said, man, what I did was I joined the Zen Center in San Francisco, and I just dropped everything and started to do that. And this was years ago, he told me. He said, every morning I would meditate, and I credit that with the most important thing to me becoming a successful man, a successful businessman, a successful man. I also know, my buddy Doc, man, or my buddy Dave. These are guys who had crazy lives where literally, I remember one of them telling me, he said, every morning he used to wake up and just go, man, I don't want to die. I don't want to kill myself by leaving a needle in my arm. I don't mind if I kill myself by my own hand, but I don't want to fucking do it that way. He said, I did that for 5 years, and I just want to be happy. These are some of the wisest people I know. Again, they would tell me daily meditation. If you see these guys now, that sounds like kind of an intense thing, but you see them now, they're like these Southern wise men that I just love talking to. I wish I would have them on my podcast, but they're like, they say it conflicts with the spiritual message of what they have to say. But daily meditation, I don't tell you how to do that. We exchange ideas on how to do that. What I do is simply this, and actually meditation was very hard for me at different times because my mind was spinning all the time. And actually I would only go into state through sexual experiences. It was really crazy, man. True story. I would go out in the field and try and get laid and do all this hyper, and sexuality is low energy, man. It's mellow energy. And it's hyper energy is social energy, and they kind of conflict with each other. But the thing is I would go out in the field and do all this crazy stuff just so I could experience that point of, some awareness. and maybe belief in something that was bigger than me. And, hey, I guess thank God for it. But it took me a long time to be able to do this. And I remember my buddy Justin, he was actually an attendee who helped me out a lot at one of the 21 conventions in 2008. He said, man, just try and not think for 5 minutes a day. If a thought comes in, try and just acknowledge it, and it'll pass. Fuck, man, I couldn't do that shit. It was too hard for me. And so I experimented with different things, different breathing things. I talked to guys who are a part of our group, and they do a whole bunch of different stuff. It could be walking your dog. It could be taking some time to yourself. It could be washing dishes in the sink. It could be talking to another human being. For years, I considered my form of daily meditation and spiritual interaction just talking to one human being, because I truly believe that one human being talking to another is enough to move a man, is enough to change somebody, to make them feel something good. I'm a pretty stubborn guy, maybe not as stubborn as Anthony Johnson, but it was human. That social dynamic was something that allowed me to calm and change and find the better parts of myself. So your morning meditation or daily meditation can be anything, but at some point throughout the day, reset, get back to it. In our minds and how our world works and whatever it is, because it's our culture, because it's our consumption, because it's our wants or whatever, it's because you got some abuse growing up, or you got like some crazy stuff, who knows. You're going to make every excuse in the world why you don't need to calm down, sit down and think. Calm down, sit down and think. It'll take you 5 minutes, and it'll help you reset. And it'll put you maybe not in the best place. Maybe you might lose some money. Maybe you might lose some momentum on something that you're working on, a creative project, a deadline. But it will put you in the place that you need to be, where you're going to actually ultimately function best. You need to have faith in that. Giving. This is an interesting thing. There's few people in the seduction industry that I absolutely think are the shit. And I try and talk to him as much as possible. One is Jason Savage. And I remember seeing him speak as he was rehearsing his 2011 21 convention speech, which you should all watch. It's 2010, that's right. It's the one convention I missed that I had to cancel out of. It's in Sweden. It's an amazing speech. But I remember when he was rehearsing for it, he would do it for us all in Austin and talk about it. I remember emailing Anthony saying it was going to be the shit. And it was. It's truly probably the best speech that's ever been given here, so check it out. But he said one of the things that sex and socialization is about giving. It's about sharing. And in fact, in that speech, he said there's two types of personalities that get women. There's ones that are dominant and cold and taking and aggressive and can be manipulative and all this sort of stuff. And there's one that's warm and giving and that's also very dominant and confident and all that sort of stuff. And everybody wants to look at the differences. Our program or mindsets for efficiency want to look at the differences, and we can't make it work. But one of the things Savage said when he went through his little triangle of social, seduction, sexual, is that he said you got to look at the similarities. These guys are dominant. These guys are confident. When we can work on being dominant, confident, we can start integrating these other aspects of seduction. The exchange, the experience between two people, where man and woman become equals, where man and woman become one. There's no true dominance in that. The man is only dominant so the woman can be dominant. The woman's only dominant so the man can. It's an exchange. It's just they speak kind of different languages. It's like a plug going into a socket. How's that for crude, huh? But giving is an amazing thing, And so what I tell people is it's not about donations. I know people who donate a lot of money and they're miserable people. I know people that, give superficially and all that sort of stuff. But what I'm talking about here is intentional human interaction. It could be opening the door for somebody. It could be giving a bunch of money away. It could be doing somebody a favor. But it's that one thing that is going to put you in that moment of humanity, all right? And that will give you that belief and that ability to have that human interaction. And in fact, will give you that aspect of being social. All right, we hear social all the time, but every day, once a day, maybe 10 times a day, I want you to be social. That doesn't mean you go up and open a chick and talk to her and try and get her to do something. It means you go up to somebody, anybody. Doesn't matter who they are, what type of value they have, and you interact like a human being, all right? True story. When 2008, so 2008, going through some major changes in my life. Major changes. That was like at the the height of my sexual activity in the pickup industry. There's a lot of chaos happening. I did the 21 convention. A lot of crazy stuff happening. And I talked to my buddy Justin. He said, man, I had to go shoot an infield video. And these guys had done this infield thing with me before, and they were like really assholes. They're like, you can't do it like us. Like, go open that, so-and-so could do that. And I'm just like, shit, man, chill out. I was really scatterbrained. There were a lot of changes that I knew I needed to make. That's one thing that sex will have you do. It'll confront different parts of you that kind of resonate, how you need to evolve and all that sort of stuff. But he goes, look, why don't you just be honest with people? Why don't you just connect with people? It's like, you got social skills good enough to make that work. It's like, if you're having a bad day, if you think that you're like a horrible person and stuck in self-pity and can never get better, you go and find somebody and tell that to them. And I literally, this is a true story, man. I guess I'm kind of crazy or whatever, but I literally went up to people and did that. I'd be in San Diego or I'd be teaching workshops. And you've heard other people speak today of that, like, you got to approach and all this stuff when you're teaching, which I kind of have a different take on. You got to be social, all right, and you got to be sexual. You don't need to approach. If you're defining social dynamics by approaches, you're missing the whole point of it. But the thing is, I would actually go up to people and I'd say, look, man, I'm having a real bad day, and like these people, just listen to me. And it was like sheer desperation. But what happened there